welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Beata Emily Matasana, and if you're a new subscriber or if you have been here, please give yourself a massive thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so. So I believe that you're watching this video because you're interested in Chevening scholarship interview. If you do not make it, please don't be discouraged. Retry again next year. I was watching this other video last night of this other lady. She said she applied for Chevening scholarship and went for interview and only got the scholarship on the 4th attempt. And for me, I applied twice. I only got it on the 2nd attempt. With some people, they do get it on the 1st attempt. Some people never get it. Some people get it on the 5th attempt, 6th, 7th, 8th, whatsoever. So please don't be discouraged if maybe you got a rejection. A rejection does not mean a failing, or it doesn't mean that you have failed. Rather, you have to retry more or harder. I'm a Chevening scholar from Lesotho. As you guys can see, there's my beautiful flag. So myself and my beautiful friend right here will be spilling the tea on what to probably expect during the Chevening scholarship interview at the British Commission or wherever that it will be held in your countries. Remember, there's such a prestigious scholarship, and this video is going to be partitioned in 2 parts. I will be talking about my own personal experience and also what you should expect, and then I also have my other friend from Tanzania. She's also a Chevening scholar, so she will tell you how her experience is. And please make sure that you watch all these videos. I have a playlist and then I will link it somewhere up here, because it's very much important for you to know all the information that we say or that we share with you guys. Before going any further, guys, I look so beautiful, and this hair is sold by myself for £130, but the price does depend on the supplier's rate. Sometimes the supplier increases it or decreases it. So if you want it, please just make sure that you DM me on Instagram. I go by the same names that go here on YouTube. A quick disclaimer: all these views that I'm going to share with you guys are my personal views. It does not mean that this is how it is going to be. However, most of the questions, if not all, if you're lucky, I don't know, would kind of be asked. So make sure that you watch as many as possible YouTube videos. Ask so many questions to fellow Cheveners. I have my green tea right here, and then I have written those points down here. So please don't be surprised if you guys see me looking right here. And congratulations to you guys if you have been appointed, or if you have been appointed to go to an interview. And for those of you who have not yet received any updates, please keep on hanging there, keep on praying very, very hard. And then there are gonna be some prior preparations. There's a video that I made. I'll link it somewhere here, so that if you haven't watched it, please make sure that you go and do it and watch it. In this video, you have to prepare. There are a lot of things that you need to do. If you haven't uploaded the necessary documents, that is your time to do so. If you haven't requested for reference letters, that is your time. You need to do so while there is time. And if you already know where the interview is going to be held, that is, if you have been given that email, please make sure that you make some preparations prior. I know with some other people, they kind of stay or they live far from where the interviews are going to be held. So if you have your relatives, or if you have money to book a B&B or a hotel closer to that, please save towards that, or make sure that you prepare, because you don't want to arrive there late. You also want to make sure that you dress in a good way, or appropriate way, and most comfortable way. You don't want to be somebody else who's wearing clothes that are too tight, especially ladies, because once you wear things that are going to be too tight, they're going to suffocate you and you're not going to be okay at all. This is the last chance for you to make any amendments. If ever you got conditional offer letters in, or unconditional offer letters in other universities that are not amongst your top 3, please make sure that you tell them such that they can see what they can do. If you fail to tell them during the interview, know that you are not going to get a scholarship. Even if you pass the interview, even if you got an unconditional offer letter, for as long as the universities that you got the unconditional offer letter are not one of the top 3, please forget about that. So you don't want to be stressed about that. Make sure that you take cognizance of that. When you go at the interview, make sure that you know that it's only you. Don't focus on anybody else. On the day of the interview, I don't know how many we were on that day, but I think something like 4, because I know 4 people were interviewed and I was the only girl then on that day. I don't know if there were some people that were interviewed on the same day after, apart from these 4 people, and then the 3 guys. So what happened is I was the 3rd one to be interviewed. I got there, I think my interview was at 10. Yeah, it was scheduled to, I scheduled it to be 10 to 11 or 10:30 to 11. I can't remember well, but I was the 3rd person. So when I got there, the first person, it was I got there an hour earlier. That's on period. One thing about me, I'll get early. So when I got there, I found this other guy who was before me, and then he was like, the first person just got in, which means that we're gonna be late. Okay, cool. So this guy took over an hour. Okay, cool. And then the second guy who was in front of me also took over an hour, and I was like, is it too hard, guys? Like, or what is really happening? But I was like, let me not concentrate on what is happening there, because I haven't gone there. So when it was my time, I was the last one before lunchtime. So like I said, they had interviewed these other 2 guys before me. So when I got there, honey, I was looking all sorts of cute. I was wearing my green dress, pink shoes, and then pink top. I chose those ones deliberately. Why? Because I was like, with wearing this, I know I look very beautiful, I look very comfortable, and also they signify or they symbolize the bright future that I'm about to have. I was being optimistic, girl. That's on period. So when I got there, I got welcomed by the 3 beautiful ladies. It was this other lady from the SA British Commission, and then the lady from UK, and then the other lady from the British Commission in my country. And then I don't know if it's gonna be the same with you guys, but obviously, or in most cases, somebody from UK is there, somebody from the British Commission in your country is there, and then I don't know in other cases. So we'll hear how it was for my other friend that I was talking to you guys about in part 2. So when I got there, I was welcomed by those beautiful ladies, and of course I did greet them, and I did not sit before they told me to sit. Then after they told me to sit, then that is when I said, guys, I was very scared. I don't want to lie, but I didn't want to show that I was scared because, or I didn't want to let my fear overcome me, because I knew that I was not going to do very well. Instead, I kept on praying that the fear should be suppressed, and I did manage to do that. So I didn't take as long as, like, I didn't take more than 45 minutes. That is something that I'm pretty much sure about it. If the maximum time that I got there, I think it was about 45 minutes. It wasn't more than that. But when I got out of there, I was like, 45 minutes, but the guys took long. Like, what is really going on? However, I didn't want that to be stuck in my mind, because I was like, I know I'm the best. The questions that are going to be asked on the essays that you wrote, so you have to familiarize yourself with those essays. Make sure that you do so. They may not ask you directly as how you wrote them, but try to kind of like zigzag, you know. For instance, they might say, give us an example whereby you portrayed leadership skills. Yeah, they might ask something like that. And with this one, guys, I think, or let me say this, the first question, most of the time they will tell you that it's not rated, so it's more like an icebreaker. They just want you to kind of like feel welcomed, and they will welcome you very well. They just ask you that simple question, maybe like, tell us about yourself. So you need to make sure that when you do so, in your mind, just lie to yourself that this question is going to be rated such that you already start practicing how you're going to be responding to the questions. So one thing that tricked me at first was this one. Like, they were like, give us an example where you showed your leadership skills. Guys, I was like, in my mind, I was like, I have numerous examples. At the same time, I don't want to jeopardize this beautiful opportunity because I was told to give out an example. So I have examples. I was like, Lord, what do I do here? And then I was like, I did a very short prayer. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to give out an example. Instead, I'm going to give out examples. I was like, if they don't stop me, I don't stop. That was me. So, yeah. So what I did was like, I think I gave out about 3 examples or 2 examples, but it wasn't one example. That one I was very, very much sure. But I was still scared, like, oh my God, what if they penalize me for not listening to the instructions? But they didn't, because your girl is here. Like, I was like selected as one of the Chevenings from my country. I wasn't even on reserve list at all because I am hot. I did tell them the example, and the good thing is I would advise you to give out the examples that you said or that you wrote in in your essay. However, if you have some of the new examples, there's no problem, you can do so, but you can do so as additional as additional examples. Why am I saying this? Don't just give out new examples, because it's the reason of the interview. In most cases, it's about to, like, they want to see if you are the real person that wrote that, or are you not trying to fabricate the story or something like that. So they want to know very well that you are the one that wrote those examples. So I gave out an example. I don't even remember which example I gave out or which examples I gave out, but when a question like this arises, you might try to define a little bit what leadership means according to you. As people, we have different leadership skills, or we have different definitions of leadership, of which you would opt to do as one of the leaders. So I gave out what my explanation of a good leader or leadership is, or a leader is, and then afterwards I gave out the examples. So one of the examples, okay, I remember one of the examples that I did give out was like, I was one of the sign language interpreters in my country that was working very hard to ensure that there was inclusion of people with hearing loss in the national campaigns, the national election campaigns. I was approached by this other political parties, 2 political parties that wanted to work with me while they were presenting their manifestos. They asked for my services to do what, while presenting the manifesto, I should be interpreting. And this wasn't something that was really like known or usually done by other political parties, and because of that, I know very well this one, I'm pretty much sure there were so many people with hearing loss that were like, yes, we're going to vote. Why? Because we feel, or we are being included. It's not like before, whereby people were just talking and they couldn't be engaged, or they couldn't enjoy what was being done. So I told them that I was part of those people. I didn't just mention that, but I told them that the good thing is one of those political parties is the leader of the coalition government in my country. As of now, I knew very well that I was part of the change right there. And then there's also this other political party that just joined the coalition, of which I did work with, and show them the results also, and then show them the stats. How or what will the UK benefit from you as a Chevener? Like, try to find what is it that you're most passionate about, or what is it that the UK does that you probably want to work with. It could be trade opportunities for their country, because remember, when you are a Chevener, like, you get connected, you network with so many people, and when you come back, it's going to be kind of like easy for you to have many opportunities, unlike somebody who is not exposed to this kind of opportunities, because you somehow know the ins and outs of this whole thing. The other question could be, what is your best achievement? And when they say this, guys, make sure that you choose, if you choose to give out one achievement, make sure that you choose the best out of them. So with me, I said I was like, I have so many achievements that I've done and that I'm very much proud of, and this is the one that I'm going to share with you is one of the best it's one of the best achievements. And then I was like, for the first time in Lesotho, ever since Lesotho gained its independence, or ever since Lesotho was there, Lesotho, through the National University of Lesotho, was able to admit and was able to have a graduate who had hearing loss. That was the first ever hard of hearing student to complete her bachelor's degree, and I was the interpreter, the one and only interpreter for that. Yes, there has been some that completed some certificate degrees or diplomas in other institutions or even in that institution, but it was not a degree. So this made it somehow become like the best achievement for me, because regardless of the challenges that I had encountered there, I was like, the best goal, or the goal that I have for myself, is to make sure that she graduates like any other person, and then we break the record. And of course, it's a special something. That's on period. I'm so proud of it. Other question is, they are going to ask you, why should we award you this scholarship? It's not going to be okay, so we have 2 people, or we have hundreds of people that we chose. What is so special about yourself? There were so many things that made me stand out. For instance, I was like, I'm going to be the first sign language interpreter to be offered a Chevening scholarship, and this means that I will be exposed to beautiful opportunities in the UK. And because UK is one of the developed countries, I would like to emulate those good opportunities, especially in the education sector. Why am I saying this? Because professionally I am a teacher and I'm also a sign language interpreter. I have 2 professions. So I was like, as I come back home, I was still working as a part-time lecturer at one of the universities in my country, and also having my consultancy. I will have emulated good actions or good initiatives that I had done in the UK education system, of which I would like to implement some of them when I get back at the universities, or at the university that I was currently working in. And I was able to tell them one of my future plans, or one of my future goals, which was to ensure that there is full inclusion of persons with disabilities. This time around, I was no longer saying full inclusion of persons with hearing loss, but instead persons with disabilities in general. And now, had I known better, I would say inclusion of all people, because I'm an inclusive advocate. That's on period. I'm still shifting. At first, I was a disability. I was specifically for the people with hearing loss, and then for people with disabilities, and now it's all the people, because there is a lot of exclusion that is happening in the whole world, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. And then I was able to tell them that, because I have seen, or I know that you have a lot of educational projects that you do. I mentioned the one that they did, or whereby they partnered with the National University of Lesotho, because that is where I'm working, that is where I studied. I know the ins and outs of whatever thing that is happening, so we could partner with you guys to ensure that there are some good projects that are coming out of this. Why the Chevening scholarship? Yeah, out of all those 100 scholarships, why this scholarship? This one is the prestigious one. What you want to do is you will have done your research. There were so many examples that I wanted to say, but unfortunately I couldn't say all of them. But one of them would be, it's because I wanted to be part of the 50,000 alumni that create change in their communities. And then you might want to browse through the internet, of course, try to check who were the alumni that created changes in their countries. Some of them are parliamentarians, some of them are prime ministers, young prime ministers for that matter. Some of them are beautiful business people, multi-million business people or billionaires. And then with me, one of the examples that I could say was, there's this other beautiful sister that I look up to. She was one of the first Chevening scholars in my country. So I was like, I would want to be an exceptional leader, and then made an example with her, how she showed her leadership skills. She was one of the people that formed a new political party in my country that is kind of leading right now in the coalition government. And the same person that was a Chevener, or that is a Chevener, yeah, once a Chevener, always a Chevener. The same person that is a Chevener is now an ambassador in another country. So those are the kind of examples that you would want to state. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? This one, or they'll say, where do you see yourself in future? This is a broad question. It's a long-term, what they want to know about your long-term goals and also your short-term goals. So you might want to partition it in two ways when you respond to it. State your long-term goal, your short-term goals, and then state your long-term goals. Tell them how you're going to do that, with who. One of the things that they want to see is, are you somebody who is a real leader? Are you somebody who has networking skills? Are you somebody who really communicates? Are you somebody who really wants to see and be part of change? Like, there's so many things. Through the way that you express yourself, they're going to be like, this is the person, or this is not the person. So make sure that you do so. Yeah. And then sometimes they might ask you an indirect question whereby they want to know if you know the British values. Make sure that you know the British values, and out of those British values, which one do you align yourselves with, and which one have you proven that this is what I have done, and because of this I want to work hand in hand with you in future upon my return. Why do you want to study this course? You are going to name the course. Sometimes you might find that you applied for the same course at different universities, or different courses at different universities. You have to state which course you are talking about and how that course is going to assist. For instance, right now I am doing Masters in Inclusive Education. Oh, this course has just like enlightened me so much, because prior I just thought that inclusion is just about people with disabilities and that is it. I didn't know that it's so broad, like it's super broad. So you'd want to tell them that because there are certain people that are excluded. For instance, in my country, Lesotho is known to have two official languages, that is Sesotho and English, and I do not believe that those are the only official languages. I feel like more languages have to be stated. We have people that communicate or that speak isiXhosa, and then isiZulu, Puti, numerous languages, and also Mandarin. So what I would like to do is, because I'm a teacher, remember I said that, I would say, having studied this course, it will make me become the best inclusive advocate, and then make or list an example whereby in my country we are partitioned in terms of districts, not provinces, and we have 10 districts. So there's this other district called Chevening. Most of the time, or if not all the time, when the results of the JC students or LGCSE students are released, Chevening is always the district that comes last. It's either it comes 9th or on the 10th position. So one of the reasons is probably because of the language. When students are taught in their mother tongue language, it's much more easier for them to understand what is being said, for it is even written in the language policy of my country, that students from grade 1 to 3, they need to be taught using their mother tongue. So it shows somebody who knows their stuff, somebody who really loves what they are doing, and somebody who is able to back up whatever they have with the relevant data. Don't just talk like anybody else and then you don't have something to back you up. Know the stats, know what has been done by who, when, how has that brought change, what is it that you are going to do that hasn't been done, what's just so special, you know, about you, you know, something like that. You're going to be asked about the why the UK, and with why the UK, obviously what's so special about UK that you want to do. Cultural exchange, networking, learning about UK in general. They would want to know like some of the questions are just about follow-up questions. Don't be surprised, you might be asked different questions from the people whom you are being interviewed with, depending on how you respond. Obviously, Chevening does not want somebody who's just going to be like, I'm going to be reading whatnot. No, you socialize, my friends, you talk, my friends, you do a lot of things that are done. Don't just tell them, or don't just give them examples about academic life. No, socialize also. I told them that when I was in high school, I left this book called King Richard III, and then King Richard III was written by Shakespeare. Where is Shakespeare born? I would love to know where, or I would love to visit where Shakespeare was born, the family, you know, the museum and whatnot. How will you handle the challenges in the UK? Yeah. And with this one, I would like you guys to answer it this way. Tell them or give them an incident whereby you were challenged before and how you managed to overcome that challenge. This example whereby I have been a sign language interpreter at the National University of Lesotho for the past 4 years. It wasn't merry at all, especially when it comes to financial departments. Like, I was not paid the salary that I ought to have been paid at all, apart from the final year, of which I had to fight. So this is the challenge that I'm talking about. Regardless of the challenge of being underpaid, I knew my goal. My goal was to ensure that this lady graduates, and I knew very well that her happiness was going to be my happiness, because I was going to be so proud of myself for the achievement, like to have just endured for those years, regardless of whatever that was coming through. And how did I manage to solve this? During the 4th year, that is when my salary was now good, because I had to fight very hard. I hadn't been fighting that much for the past 3 years then, and then on the 4th year I was like, I'm not going to do anything if I don't get what I deserve. And then I ended up getting what I deserve. So with those kind of questions, don't just tell them how you would solve the challenges or the kind of challenges, yeah, but try to reflect back and then take them back on when you encountered a certain challenge, how you solved it and how you felt, you know, something like that. I feel like this video is going to be long. All the points are not discussed, so please make sure that you stay tuned for part 2, whereby I will be with my friend and she will be doing more of the talking. I feel like I will be interviewing her, and then I will finish this other points that are left. I think I have about 3 points that are left. So good luck to you guys. Prepare. Don't forget to pray. Thank you very much for watching. Until we meet again next time. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Bye.